Well, it's a great honor for me to be here today, and it reminds me of my favorite cartoon in a New Yorker magazine. This little boy is looking up at his father, and he says, "Daddy, when I grow up, I want to be a former president." Well, 4 of us have already made that goal, and one is still working on it, but it is a wonderful thing to be with the other presidents and to have a chance to address this wonderful audience. I'll be very brief, and I'll be limiting my comments just to the things that I know personally that have been important for me and for George W. Bush. In 2000, as some of you may remember, there was a disputed election for several weeks. And finally, when President Bush became president, they had the inauguration in Washington on schedule. And I think my wife and I were the only 2 volunteer Democrats on the platform. And George and Laura afterwards came up and thanked us for coming. And so he said, "Now, if there's anything I can ever do for you, let me know," which was a mistake he made. And I said, "Mr. President, the Carter Center has programs in 35 countries in the world, and the worst problem now is a war going on between North and South Sudan. And millions of people have been killed, and I'd like for you to help us have a peace agreement there." And in a weak moment, he said, "I'll do it." And I said, "When can I meet your Secretary of State and your National Security Advisor?" He said, "Well, I haven't even chosen them yet, but give us 3 weeks." So 3 weeks later, I came up and met with Colin Powell and Condoleezza Rice, and President Bush kept his promise. He appointed a distinguished senator from Missouri, John Danforth, and a great general from Kenya named Sumbewa. And in January of 2005, there was a peace treaty between North and South Sudan that ended a war that had been going for 21 years. George W. Bush is responsible for that. And that was the first of his great contributions to the countries in Africa. As has already been mentioned briefly here, he increased the development assistance to Africa from the time he went in office until he left from $1.4 billion to more than $9 billion. And that's an increase of 640%. That is development assistance. He established a PEPFAR program. There were 50,000 HIV sufferers in Africa being treated when he came in office. When he left office per year, 2 million. I'll let you figure the percentage on that. And now at this new institute, he has a program called Pink Ribbon, Red Ribbon, and he's to save women from cervical and breast cancer in sub-Saharan Africa. And that's, again, is something that's dear to my heart, and I know means a lot to millions of people in Africa. So, Mr. President, let me say that I'm filled with admiration for you and deep gratitude for you about the great contributions you've made to the most needy people on earth. Thank you very much.
Thank you, buddy. Very cool. Thank you. I'm very proud of you. Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, President George H.W. Bush.
Right there. It's on there.